Greetings guys, it's Irish here. In this video I thought I would install SystemD on Gentoo. One of my subscribers, I'm not even going to try to say that name, I'm just going to call him Dr. Zoidberg, wanted to know how to install SystemD on Gentoo. So I have done this before in one of my previous videos, but I thought I would actually show you this time since I'm a little bit more familiar this time around than the last time where I was stumbling through. So if we pull up the SystemD guide on the Gentoo wiki, this is pretty much where I'm going to be doing. So now if you're using this with LVM and Lux, I think from what other YouTubers like Meshi and other people who've done it say, it doesn't work too well with it. You have to mess with other configurations. So this is going to be a non LVM encrypted machine, so non-UEFI 2. My computer is legacy boot. So first thing we need to do is go into the kernel. So I'm going to do that really fast. So I have a shortcut to the USR SRC Linux, and then all we need to do is a make menu config. Now a bunch of this stuff I believe should automatically be in there, but we'll still check just to make sure, but this is the one that we're going to need. So what we're going to do let's go to Gentoo Linux, and now we're going to go to support other systems and then make sure that SystemD is built in. That's the one thing for sure that you need to do. So now we're going to go back. This is the tedious part of the whole process of moving to SystemD. So general setup, a lot of this stuff should be installed already, so I'm just going to be doing some searches here. So sorry, proc. Alright, so we're going to go general setup. Okay, actually we're going to go to file systems. Now you just need to make sure that whatever file systems you have are already in there, and then you want to search for sudo file systems. So that's what this is. See, and a lot of this is already built in. So there's the proc ones, maintain dev. So we're going to go to that next really fast. I'm only going to do a few of these, so don't worry, I'm not going to bore too much. So we're going to go to general, where are you? General setup, or general devices, or sorry, generic. Okay, so I believe the last time I did this, I actually did go through a lot of this stuff. So I believe many of this is actually built in automatically to the kernel by itself. So you could still, you should probably go through this and make sure that everything in this is for sure enabled. But I'll just move on here. So if you do have UEFI, you have to make sure that all of that is done. So now, so the M tab is to help link a lot of the proc, sys, dev stuff. So what we're going to do is make sure that we make sure you create a symlink. So I'm just going to save, okay, exit, exit, exit. So we're just going to do this link first. Okay, so now since we changed that one thing, we have to do a make J4. Since I have J3, since I have a dual boot or a dual core. So while that's running, to make sure that the /usr is present at boot time, you could do the gen kernel next if you did do it, but I'm just going to do the way that I did it prior. So I'm going to use the Dracut, which is used by Fedora and I believe Arch Linux, but let me know if for sure if Arch uses that. But I do know that Fedora uses the Dracut in their SystemD implementation. So this is going to take a little bit, so I'm just going to pause this and I'll come back once it's done. The compiling of the kernel is still going, but I feel like we could probably move on. So the next thing we're going to do is emerge this. So it is the Dracut. This shouldn't take too long. So we say sudo and then emerge. Now you can use the gen kernel or the gen kernel next, depending on your thing, but based off your preference. But I prefer using the Dracut. So really, you don't need to enable any of the use flags. So we'll just make sure that this goes. Make sure I'm still recording here. Okay. So, yeah. This shouldn't take too long. It's only one package here. Yep, and it's just about done. Come on. Don't know what's going on here. Computer's being very sluggish. Okay, so now we want to go into the etc. Sudo vim dracut.conf, I believe it is. Yep. So what you need to do is just add this line. So this will add the user. So I just need to go down, hit O, and save that. So that'll, anytime we reboot with the SystemD, the Dracut will mount the user. So we don't need to worry about that. So if you were using the gen kernel, you would want to make sure that you reinstall it. And if you were using the init ramfs and lux, you would want to make sure that you regenerate that also. So the next thing we're going to do is make sure our profile list. So like I said prior to this, depending on what you have with your profile, you would want to do the corresponding one. So in Plasma, you have the SystemD, which is stable here. Or I believe GNOME, if you're trying to go with GNOME, GNOME actually does bring in a lot of SystemD. So if you're wanting to go the GNOME route, you would want to install SystemD. But I have xmonad/i3 on my laptop. And if I was doing this on my desktop, which has XFCE, or if you were doing Mate, LXDE, one of those, you would want to keep what you have, which is the desktop. So we don't need to touch anything in this. So once that's done, we're going to go into our make.conf. So I do have a alias for our make.conf. So you want to go into the use flags and just type in SystemD. From what it says, you also want to get rid of the console kit. So since that is in here, I'm going to just get rid of it. So hit exit there. And then also, I believe udev, you could probably get rid of that too. So we're going to get rid of udev because that console kit and udev are integrated in SystemD by itself. So we can save this. And now since we changed the use flag, we need to do a world update. So emerge AV UND at world. Now this could take a while, but luckily I don't have as many packages. But if you're doing this on GNOME or Plasma, you're going to have to probably compile a lot of packages to have the systemd use flag in there enabled. And then once that's done, once everything is said and done, we will remove the udev. So let's see how many packages needs to be updated with the systemd. And I'm sure I did this correctly, so we should be getting at least 100 packages. Okay, so if you tried to do this before, Poplar cups, okay, so for right now, you want to keep don't undo the udev because it had an issue with that. As you can see here, it was looking for one of these things. So we'll just keep udev and reissue this. This should fix the e-build stuff. So, because it was also looking for udev in the Qt GUI right here. That's why it was not liking that. So hopefully this should get rid of all of this, and it will tell you what needs to be updated with the systemd use flag. So once that's done, I'll come back. Okay, so after everything is done, as you can see, all of these packages needed the systemd. So there were 27 packages. So 3 new, 23 reinstalls, and 2 uninstalls. So yeah, interesting. Some of the uninstalls, I don't know why are being uninstalled, but okay. But I'm just going to let this run. So hopefully this doesn't take too long. I will come back once everything is done. Let's see here. Okay, good. So systemd is being installed alongside this, so it's always good. So I will come back once this is done. Okay, so it is still compiling, but there's a few things that we could do. So once the kernel is done, you just install the modules, and then you would just do a make install, which goes to boot. So the next thing for this, you would need to actually go into so vim etc default grub. So the one thing you need to do on this one is you're going to look for an entry that says grub command line Linux init equals usr lib systemd slash systemd. So this will, once everything is said and done, we would, this is telling Grub which init system to go from. So it will just say, so if you did not have this, it would still boot from OpenRC. So make sure you write that, and then you just do a grub mkconfig o boot grub cfg. So this will reissue the grub, and the new kernel should be there. My background is showing, which is good. Some old kernels here. So you'll see the .old, that's my old kernel. And then here's the new kernel, is the .irish 4976. So this is still going since it's only the first one. So I will be back once that's done. Okay, so once that's done, we're just going to follow this and unemerge or deselect udev. So we're just going to go back here, hit emerge, dash deselect sys dash fs udev. Okay, so since that's been done, just get to move on. So what we did earlier was in Grub 2 we unchecked this one, which upon reboot it will prompt us for, it will go straight into SystemD. So next thing we could do is create this. So hit that, go back. Alright. And then if you have a etc hostname, should be fine. I don't think you really need to do this. I didn't do that in the past. Same thing with the etc locale.conf. So if we go into it, so cat etc locale.conf, you'll see that I am in the enus.utf-8. And then make sure that your time and date is correctly, which you can do the time date CTL, but it is about 6:40 my time, so that is correct. So now, since I have network manager, what we're going to do is say systemctl enable network manager. So that will create the symlink. So on reboot, everything will be fine. And then everything should be fine. So what I'm going to do right now is generate. Did I generate the grub? Let me see if I did or not. Yep, we did. So we are good to reboot. So I will be right back. Okay, so once you've done rebooting, everything should be fine. If you don't have the quiet in the grub configuration, you should see everything going down. It should say welcome to Gentoo Linux. So now if we go and say systemctl enable or status network manager, you'll see that is actively running. So now if we ping gentoo.org, see that we actually do have it. I do need to set this again, so we'll do that really fast. So vim etc hostname, and just say Gentoo laptop. So now on reboot, everything should be fine. So that is the steps to putting systemd on Gentoo. It's not too bad, but again, Gentoo is a OpenRC specific thing, so use it. That you can do it if you want, but ever since switching over to Gentoo, I've actually kind of liked OpenRC. So, but yeah, if you guys have any questions, let me know. But I wanted to do a couple of channel update also. So I switched the name because with the Linux Distro Community, it implies that multiple people are doing videos under that organization or that community, but it was just me. Granted, AccuBase did do a few videos, but I wanted to have more people do videos alongside me, but I decided to change the name to Irish Luck Linux just because I'm the one who usually does the videos. So just wanted to let you guys know why I did the name change. I'm probably also going to switch my laptop OS. Ever since I started studying for my Security Plus again, I've been kind of conscious on my security on my computers. So at least on my laptop, since I can transport that and it can be stolen, I'm going to do a encrypted install of either Gentoo, Slackware, or Arch Linux. So I have to decide which one I want to do. I'm probably going to try to do Gentoo and follow Meshy's guide on that. So it's probably going to take me all this week to set up because, you know, I still have to study and work full time and, you know, look after my son. So thought I would show you guys at least SystemD on Gentoo before I moved off of a regular Gentoo install. So, but if you guys have any questions or have any suggestions, please let me know. I'll try to get to them, but I'm going to try to do a little bit more of security kind of stuff. Kind of want to show a IDS or a intrusion detection system or a IPS or an intrusion prevention system called Snort, which it's the open source version of that, and try to put that on my Raspberry Pi. It's supposed to help detect if there's like anyone trying to, you know, get into my brute force my Wi-Fi and everything else like that. It's just more of a security thing instead of doing the router's firewall. I also want to try to do more with like IP tables. I can show you some of that, but yeah, I have some ideas. So again, if you guys have any suggestions or any questions, please put down below, and I will talk to you guys later.